Tragedy and comedy are two of the most central genres in fiction, and they both lie on opposite ends of the spectrum. Most works of fiction have some serious moments and some lighthearted moments, but ultimately they are limited by where they lie on the spectrum. However, the absolute most underrated, not talked about aspect of One Piece is that it has managed to create a unique tone for the series, where it can capture the best of both worlds. Oda is the only writer who can truly go as dark as he wants and as silly as he wants, without creating an inconsistent tone for the story. Now, many of you may be thinking that's not true. There are lots of series that have sad moments, like characters dying, but also have funny moments in between. And sure, lots of series have that. But what I'm saying is no series can go to the extremes of both tragedy and comedy like One Piece does. Oda can write heartbreaking, soul-crushing moments and create a real sense of sadness and tragedy, but Oda can also create some of the most ridiculous, over-the-top cartoonish gags you will ever read, and it all works within the same series. One Piece's comedy isn't just a few jokes thrown in once in a while to lighten the mood. I'm talking full-on devotion to comedy, literally Looney Tunes style humor, gags that are set up hundreds of chapters in advance. Every other character has some ridiculous design, every other ability is half cool, half gag, even the locations, the culture, the way people speak, everything is meant to be funny. At the same time, when I say this series can get dark, I'm saying this series handles genocide, slavery, discrimination, war, and much more. Oda is one of the best writers at making the reader feel the pain of his characters. People don't just die in One Piece. People will die in the most tragic, heartbreaking manners possible. So you have both extremes of the spectrum, side by side in the same series. This is the absolute most underrated aspect of the series that nobody seems to discuss. Everyone seems to take it for granted. Oh, we're having a tragic backstory? Typical One Piece. Oh, some crazy, over-the-top humor? The typical One Piece. It's rare that people stop to consider that having both extremes to this degree is unprecedented. One Piece is taking two polar opposite styles and blending them together so well that it just feels like the natural tone of the series. Yes, you can find series that are darker and more mature than One Piece, but how well do they handle comedy? You can find series that devote themselves entirely to comedy, but how well do they handle tragedy? And it's not just the fact that Oda has extremely sad moments and extremely funny moments in the same series. It's the fact that One Piece's ability to freely flow from one tonal extreme to the other is unlike any other work of fiction out there. We regularly see that even very serious moments can immediately be followed up with an over-the-top joke that does not change the overall heaviness of the situation. One Piece's absolute command of tone and a unique ability to switch from extremely tragic to extremely comical in the span of a few pages. Now, unfortunately, lots of times people have a very narrow idea of what makes a work of fiction good. The sad fact is that lots of people may only rate a series based on how well it handles the serious side of things, since people primarily value dark, mature storytelling. That is a very simplified understanding of what makes fiction great, and the fact that One Piece has such a brilliant handle on both ends of the spectrum is sadly overlooked.